Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this guide on Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer. We recently lost a video that showcased where every check in the game is, and so I'm personally choosing to record a new one for us to help new players learn more. So, real quick, I am going to go over the settings we are using. We're playing with a updated version of the Shrug to Speed flag set from week 1. Shrug to Speed being our annual new player program. The intent of this first week was to keep it as close to vanilla as possible, still having the items be randomized. So we've got checks are in, we've got item locations prioritized, with prioritized meaning that they will always be found in these locations. So anything that was a key item in the vanilla game will still be a key item. Anything that was on an NPC, anything that was a key item will be a key item, be it an original chest, an NPC, or the battlefields. The logic is what we call friendly, so the items for clearing dungeon will never be placed in that dungeon to avoid a revisit, and the magic mirror and mask will be available before Ice Pyramid and Volcano, respectively. So, and the Sky Coin is one of those items that you find in the game. We don't have the random starting weapon on. We often start with one in a lot of flags because it's more interesting to start with the different weapons that have to adjust on the fly. As for consumables, brown boxes will be vanilla. If you enable this check, they will be shuffled between themselves. Boxes don't reset as a new setting Wildham added. That if in vanilla, if you go back into a dungeon, the brown boxes will reclose. And you can pick them up again. Seed vendors are kept to be standard, and the seed supply will be 2, because there's only 2 in the vanilla game in boxes. I will show you where both of those are for your knowledge. Enemy scaling, I've put them at 25 to 75% enemy scaling, and 50 to 100% boss scaling. So, and this, you can adjust this for your personal play as you want. I personally like to play somewhere in this range for ceilings because it makes it a little bit more quick. Enemizer we could go into in a future video to explain how to handle it. The core things to note from here are enemy density is set to 25%. So there will be a quarter of the enemies there, and the positions will be randomized from the vanilla game. We have the standard Doom Castle, so you will have to go through and all of the floors of Doom Castle and fight the 4 refights. A setting we don't use very often because the boss rush is frankly more enjoyable and faster. The floors are very monotonous. But I will go over all of them. Doom Castle access is going to be set to standard. You will have to free max ship with the Mega Grenade at the Spencer's place and give Mac his cap. So we don't have any other shuffles on. We do have tweak frustrating dungeons because it makes some of the most annoying changes better. We're not going to start with Star Companion. There are all 4 companions available. They will be in their vanilla locations. So Kaylee will be at her house until you do her quest line. Tristan will be in Sand Temple until you do his quest line. Room will be in his house, and Phoebe will be in Libric Temple until you finish her quest line. In case her and Kaylee are both found in the Windia Inn, and Tristan's found in the Fireberg Inn. We've kept it to be their vanilla quests, and spellbooks are standardized. One that we tend to have on is Kaylee's mom fights the Minotaur. We don't in this case. The other thing to note, the leveling curve is 4 times experience, 1 to 5 random fights, and the battlefield rewards will be randomized. So, and these are all custom things. I personally use the Realm Sprite, so that's what you'll be seeing. That said, I play on a Super NT through an FX pack, so this is the Super NT menu. on the screen, you can see a hash at the bottom. We use this to verify what our to verify racers have the same seed when we run races. All right, and if you're racing, it's worth noting that this is where the time starts when you hit the start. When a race timer goes down to 0 and you start seed, it starts on the start button. So 3, 2, 1. And we'll be showcasing every area and showing how to check every check. So, like, for example, you can see there's a brown box to the right here. And there's a brown box to the left if you take a few steps to the left. We will actually come back to that. That's a brown box, but I would like a partner. So we're actually going to grab Tristram real quick. Sand Temple does not have any treasure in it, but Tristram does hang out here in the heart of the Sand Temple. So, yeah, there's a brown box here. There's a brown box here. You can also see a brown box there, and with a fight, you want to just... Oftentimes, in your game, your best plan is to just let auto hit do things. Tristram has no spells. He'll always just throw Shuriken at something. His Shurikens do have a chance to paralyze. This old man, once you talk to him, push the block, will give you an item. In this case, it's Charm Claw. In vanilla, it's the Tree Whip. You cannot see the 2 items up top without an axe. Next up, you have Foresta. You would start here with Kaylee's house, jump over her mom, and there's a brown box up there that you can see. I typically go to the back here and get whatever this key item is. Bombs are good. You can then peek the chest down here that you would need an axe for. And then there's the free inn house. This is a free inn. It takes about 5 seconds to heal, which is a little slow. But I will use it to showcase that, yes, you can heal here for free. And then you leave. With bombs, so you can see that there's battlefields around. The battlefields on the screen. Gray means they will give you experience. Let's see. Green, like down here at the bottom right, or the middle right of the screen, you can see a green one. Those give gold. And blue give you key items. So I've got set so they are not in their vanilla locations. And we're going to take just a couple of battlefields to get some levels on Benjamin. So bombs have guaranteed accuracy and fixed damage, so it's not a bad idea to use them. The other thing with bombs, especially in this early game, is you can do attack, defend strats, and defend will hold over into future fights, so that was actually a big experience for us. I'll explain double level in just a moment. If you use defend, it will carry over next fight, so if, say, we get ambushed by a fight here, Tristram would take the hit for Benjamin. In this case, we have Tristram. He's fast. We're going to get some sneak attacks this time. Some surprise attacks. I'm going to take this battlefield as well. So double level works exactly as the developers intended, as Hatox would say. When you gain a level, gain experience, the game takes the experience and compares what you gain to how much experience you use. And then we'll set new experience value on the next fight. So you gain such much experience, you level up. You gain more experience, compared to 0, you need to level up, and you level up again. So, and then it will change value. It does mean that when you get the double level, it will take a little more time to get your next level, but usually when it happens, it's worth it. So, there are 2 ways to do Bone Dungeon. In this case, I prefer to go straight down. Worth knowing, I'm going to take that with Enemy Song Showcase 1 movement trick a little later, but I'll showcase it now, actually, because... So, walk in, there's the quicksand in the center, and there's paths on the right. You can go in and check the paths on the left and right. Or you can do what I do, which is go down the center, and then step left and step right to peek them. And you can often go through the hallway if you need the item in there. In the next room, you have these statues. If you're playing a normal scene, you can peek by checking this this spot here. But especially in this flag set, you would just bomb the tile and find out what's behind it. In this case, we got the mega grenades. That's excellent. And our first NPC quest is bring Tristram to this spot here. And he will give you key. In vanilla, I believe that is bombs. In this case, we got the Venus key. You can peek this item by navigating through here naturally. Thank you, D-pad. You need to come to about here to peek this chest. I then like to step over here to peek this chest. And then we check what is in the back of the dino chest, which you need to come to right here to peek. You can see it right here off the right. Oop, that was a mistake. So you need to go... There are clean lines to take. I'm not the best at clean lines. You need to peek from here. You want to actually peek from here, because if you get to it, it'd be fewer steps overall. But the answer is you peek from this line of the... right where this narrows in. Then you check this chest. It's worth noting, if brown boxes are not randomized, this chest gives you seeds. Seeds give you refill your magic charges. Very important. So, you can go all the way around. There's also the ability to go jump and hold left, and you'll be able to get through, skipping a row. I tend to miss it, so I do go around. This chest is a key item. In this case, it's our river coin to get into the Firebird quadrant. And then this is Skullorus Rex. So, no, Flamerus Rex. Skullorus is the refund. So, Flamerus Rex, you have... In vanilla, he's 2200 HP. He's undead, so if you have somebody who's with the life spell over level... I believe you have to be a... I don't know the exact level, I just know at level 7 it doesn't work. But you can actually instantly kill him by casting the life spell on him. Especially if you're over level 15. At the level 15, quest extended tends to give you after one quest. In this case, we can just use mega grenades and get through them fairly quickly. And it's worth noting that in this case, you have more than one chest behind it. And let me back up a second to see what you can see from a peek, because I forgot to actually showcase what you can see from where. Yeah, you have to jump onto the platform here to see it, so you'd often do a save here if you want to. It's worth knowing, you can hit the X button to save, go to the save menu directly. We have an axe, so we can actually check these last couple of checks in level forest, and we have the arrow spell. And without exit, you just want to walk out the same way you came in. Only you can take the quicksand in a few spots to speed it up. Because if you're holding in the same direction the quicksand is moving you, you actually move at... you basically move 2 tiles for every 1 movement input. It's pretty simple. Alright, and then lastly, the reason I killed that frog is if you jump and hold left, you can avoid going around the entire thing. I'm pretty practiced to do it fast, I just showcase it slower for you there. Alright, I know we said... Alright, I will showcase... Yeah, we'll come down here and showcase. To peek the last 2 checks, you would cut down a tree. You have to go up to 3 tiles to see that box. and then you just need to go here to peek that box. And then you can just walk out the top here. I will showcase something a little later about that. We're not going to fight every battlefield yet. Alright, Focus Tower. You can peek this box as you walk coming the stairs, or from basically anywhere. And since we have the river coin, we have to go through this door. And that box on top right is special. It's a Venus key chest, which means it gives you a text box when you go to open it. I believe it says you unlock the chest. I'll stop and actually read what it says. It's worth noting that because of that text box of using the key, the 2 chests locked by Venus key are considered NPC chests. So, otherwise, as you go around this path here, you can see those 2 chests that are accessible from the Aquaria side. And then, as you come up the stairs, before you move, you can see this box here. Alright, Firebird. If you move down to this corner, you can peek the item in the bottom right corner. You would then come over here and get Tristram's item in this case. In this case, giving us the elixir for Kaylee's mother. Alright, literally did that so I can easily see how many seeds I had. Or not seeds, but gold. There's a chest in here, worth noting in case of some settings that have Quest Extended, but also have vanilla brown boxes. This is a refresher chest, I believe is considered the fastest. And you can pick up Ruben, who I'm going to pick up because we can make our way to do his quest soon. He also just hits harder than Tristram. And there's also this vendor who sells for 500 GP. You'll need to do some green buttons. And then there's also this crest warp that is the Gemini warp. It will go to the Aquaria vendor's house. Alright. We have the Sealed Temple. Has 2 chests. You just have to move up a bit to see it. This crest warp goes to the Wintry Temple over in the snowbound block side of Aquaria. Right. This is a green battlefield. I actually don't know what our current power level's like for it. But between Mega Grenades and Ruben's Morningstar, we should be able to get through it just fine. But I do need the funds, so we're going to take this battlefield. Ruben's Morningstar counts as an axe for weaknesses, as a note. Axes and bombs are the weapons that can hit a weakness. Nothing resists axe or bombs in vanilla enemy. Oh boy, confusion. In vanilla enemy weaknesses, nothing resists axe or bombs, but resistance shuffle, which is a thing that we can go over at another time, does move those weaknesses. Anyways, confusion is absolutely devastating in this game. One thing to note is you can mash with the D-pad to get through these text boxes faster. The speed you can get through text box, although I'm going to take it slow so I can see with a 150. Okay. Alright, the mines. The peak route for mine is to go up and bomb open this cave. You can see both checks from the entrance. These buckets, if you don't have a claw, you can't activate them, but you can still check that first check by taking this loop of conveyors. anyways, we have a claw, so we can use buckets, and we can check what I believe is the vanilla charm claw chest. You do have to go in through the right side to see it. That gets us Tree Wither. More items for later. And that's the only item. And then I call this the worst room in the game. This check is one of my least favorites. Because despite the fact that you can go all the way up to here, you can't see the chest that's directly above here. And if there's an enemy in the path, please have an enemy in the path. Thank you. You can't actually step on these tiles, despite the fact that they are there. Because the game has them coded as being on the lower layer. So, some fighting here to do. But you just have to get to here to peek the chest. And ideally you want to exit out of here faster too, but we still don't have that. As for the rest of this, you would take this bucket. You can have enemies on the conveyor belts, like so. We will let Ruben hit things to clear some enemies out of our path. One thing note, you can't change items while you're moving. And you have the Djinn. Djinn can actually do some pretty dangerous things here. We're going to let Ruben keep us alive as we need to. Hypno Sleep is fine. Worth doing, life will cure status ailments in battle, but not in your menu. Yeah, Knight Djinn is dangerous, especially with low gear. You can see just how much damage he's doing. I'm also not menuing amazingly, so apologies. There are 4 chests you can get here. You also can get Ruben's check by walking up here. And if you have Mega Grenades, you can save area. Convenient that I can do all of this in one trip, honestly. We got the Liber Crest, which is the one crest that doesn't give us warps out of the area. Fastest way, in my opinion, is to go north and around. I've seen some argument for south as well. I have actually never timed it, so it's just a personal gut feeling. Alright. And saving Arian lets you get Arian's chest from over here, which in this case is a better sword. I am actually going to be a little responsible and skip Volcano, because it's not in logic to do it without the mask in this settings. So, Lava Dome. Lava Dome is very intimidating. So, first thing to note, actually, when you come in, go south, because if you go right, you're going to leave the room. So, the peak order is to go right first. Step down to here, so you can see both of these boxes on the side. That box in the bottom right is accessible from the second maze. I will showcase how to get there when we get there. You can peek this item over here just by coming in to the right, which you will naturally go right to hit this wall. But first, since we have mega grenades, we can also get this item. Dragon Claw is very important. You then want to move. In this case, I prefer to come up here because while you can peek it by going up, you still need to go down that way. So it just saves time for me to peek it by going over to the right. Or over to the left first. And then you come out this door, and there's an item here at the door, which you can then take these platforms to get down. You'll be able to get this item by coming over here. And then navigate around this way. You'll see an item here. Then you want to go... If you have exit, you would go over here first. Because you would then check this item over here by coming in to the left and checking it from the exit point. However, we don't. You can check the item by jumping the first block. If there's an enemy in the way, hey, you can also check it by coming around to here. And then you would come over here to the first split. We will start by picking the fact that I know there's an item over here, because it is a vanilla key item. You will have to clear some of these enemies out to do so. Since we upgraded Ruben with this quest, he does have access to the white spell. You need to come to this spot here to peek. And I'll show you can peek from the maze without mega grenades, but we'll do that when we get there. Afterward, you would go through and navigate this path, because if you don't go this way first, the door will be closed when you try to go to Hydra. The switch is over here. So make sure you get that switch. If you have exit, that would be where you exit out and go back in. We do not, so reverse. If you have a claw and you know there's no enemies about, you can go down that way to get through. If there are enemies, if you know there's enemies here, I wouldn't. If you note there's enemies, say, over here, then you go around that left side as well. You can peek the item as you go into the room over on the right, but you can also just peek it naturally by going through the path you need to. Alright, so you can make the gamble of just going left and peeking these. I'm going to peek these two checks from over here first. These two checks from... But if you want to be safe, you can just peek them visibly like that first. Some people do like the gamble, for speed purposes, it is faster, that you can check them just by going through the maze as intended, and peeking them at the very end. White is a very good spell. It hits neutral for everything. But you'll be able to peek both boxes by getting to the end of the maze. So, like, if you know you're playing on something that doesn't have... That is... Like this flag set, all the key items are in their vanilla locations. You would not need to peek them from there. I said you could peek the red box from here. You just have to move up into this little nook at the top of the room. Worth noting, This is what we call the useless ledge, or the pointless ledge. You step into about here to trigger the quest if you have it in your quest extended menu. There's no point to it normally, but there is a quest that makes you do it. I'm going to actually do a quick... So this will bring you back over to this side of the map. If you're walking out, this ledge is where you go. However, I need to continue forward, so we're going to showcase from that save. Alright, the second maze. There are two ways around this platform to get to the center. I personally prefer to jump the gold bar, because for one, you can peek... The reason I prefer it is you can peek 1, 2, 3 of the boxes on this side, as compared to if you go... You can peek 1. 2, as you're going around. It's worth noting that if you go through... You can actually peek... Oh, I'm not on the right menu because I reset. We'll fix that in a moment. Right. If you come through to here, you can peek the final item in the maze. There's also the caldera. To peek it, you have to go down to the top of, just above the stairway. And then if you needed that item, you go through here to get this item. And then you would... So, you would come out here, go north, you'd pick this item up if you need it. You can see that item, you would have to come over here. If you need this bottom left item, it's right here. And then to get out, you would jump the gap here. And voila. Lastly, there are 2 more checks we can peek in the Hydra room. You can peek this item by jumping to the 4th platform. And the last platform. Now, one thing to note is... If you want to peek this item, you want to save here, because jumping here starts the fight. But you have to jump to see what the chest is. So if that item were a brown chest, you would want to exit out, or walk back out off that platform I showed you. We know these. I don't remember what arrow's damage is compared to the Mega Grenade here, so I'm going to do a test. That Fire Breath is very strong. If your character's down, you can use life to bring them back up. As you see, in battle, life will restore the status effect. Arrow's doing a little more. Hydra's Fire Breath is extremely powerful. So you want to use your life spell to bring... Benjamin back. This is actually a pretty rough RNG. What is happening? We do need to manually heal Ruben. Yeah, this is a really ugly fight right now. Stop that! These fights can go, boss fights go very south, very fast. You don't have the tools to deal with them quickly. It's worth knowing that once you get about halfway through, so the second phase sprite change, Hydra's script does change. And it happens just before it in this case. Switches to a different attack script. We're playing very aggressively right now because we have a life spell we can use. Ruben's not in danger of dying except for a ridiculous crit. And that is the one thing we have to be careful of, is the stone gas. Hydra can do some very reckless things. I do not recommend doing what I did in that case, but this seed's kind of forcing me into either a volcano play or this Hydra, and I would rather full clear the dungeon. But it is perfectly reasonable to have bailed out after flipping the switch. In this case, we got the meteor spell, so Ben now has an AoE option. We're doing that does open this battlefield spot. I'm going to showcase one of these chests in particular. This chest is a vanilla refresher chest. However, discluding that, we're going to just back out. Alright, so starting the volcano over, you can peek these chests by coming over to here. So I always try to go up the staircase on the right. I prefer to check these checks here. It gets you a peek on the first Medusa side chest and the central check there. You can peek this item by going to the left. You do have to go up the stairs to do so. And then the tunnel, there's a down input in the middle. Most of the time, I will peek by coming into the middle, because otherwise you have to spare. If I know that vanilla chests are randomized, I will peek it. You can peek it up from stairs, you can go around and peek it from here. I kind of do both. Alright, worth noting that is, in my opinion, better to go up to summit side first, because you can peek every chest along the way. Because you can peek the second Medusa side chest. You can peek both of these right side boxes. You can peek Medusa and the chest behind her. And then this tile, this stairway takes you out, and there's a quest for reaching some volcano you can do there. Now, in this case, we do have to get an item from Medusa. For one, I am almost out of checks to do otherwise. So for Medusa, the tunnel has 2 upturns, and enemies can be in tunnels. If you need the item, it's right here. You can pick up an item back here, and then there's also the Medusa fight. Medusa is also dangerous. She has so many stat effects. the combat in this game can pretty much come down to use spells. Spells do a ton of damage to everything. They are set damage divided evenly. And on a single target is like 1500 damage. Speech voice is not good. Use white like we want. Confusion is the worst aspect in the game. Losing control of your character. And they can hit you with their endgame spells. That Medusa rolled a little light. The Gemini Crest. So we've seen a couple of Gemini Crests. One of them is in Sealed Temple. One of them is in the Fireberg Vendor. Alright, worth noting, you can run from battles, and I will showcase something actually kind of useful with it. Yeah, unless it's been turned off, if you use a seed, and then run before the next round, we had 2, you'll notice we now have 3. Very useful to know about. Time consuming if you need to do a lot, but... The Wintry Temple is here. You have to get these items from the Gemini Crest. Alright, and we actually do not have any other checks we can do in the Fireberg region. Our progression is through the Tree Wither and the Elixir. I could sequence break over and go get the items in Aquaria, but I would really like to showcase how the logic works here, the friendly logic. So I'm going to act as if we can't get there. So, worth a note, one very important advice. If you know you're going to be changing characters, heal your character from the... Heal Benjamin using spell charges from your character, because your new character will come fully loaded on spell charges for their level. Anyways, the Tree Wither gets us Kaylee. Or in the case of some settings, Kaylee's mom. And Kaylee, if you have the Tree Wither quest going, Kaylee cuts down a tree for you. So you can go around this way and peek this chest. And get it if you need. And get this chest. And then the fight is here. This is Minotaur. I'm not gonna do a lot here. Minotaur is not very strong at all. And after a fight, Kaylee will be taken away poisoned. You will be given an item. In this case, it's our sand coin. However, we are also going to come over here and grab Kaylee again by talking to her back here. Finishing her quest, but she does not give you item here. You do have to get to Windia to get your item. So, Sand Coin gets us access to the Aquaria region. I'm tired of being poisoned. You don't have to heal poison very often. It's not threatening. You can peek both items by going down here and getting this chest. Alright, we have some blue battlefields, so we're going to take some time and get some get a key item, get some experience off this. We'll just hold the A button here because, frankly, we are overpowered for this region now. Because it was a trip to Fireberg and full clear that corner, we're over-leveled. There is one more item in Fireberg we could not get because we don't have the multi-key. And that gets us this blue battlefield. In this case, we get Noble Armor, which, if I remember correctly, gives us... We have water resist and poison immunity now. Alright, the Liber Temple has an item here. We can pick up Phoebe, which we are going to do because we want Phoebe. And there's an item up here. The NPC assignment, the chest was... I don't remember my vanilla locations for explosives. Alright, we have a battlefield here, one battle. There's our multi-key. So, Aquaria, you have the Phoebe's house. If there can be an NPC sitting here, depending on your settings. This is the Wake Water turn-in point, which will unfreeze the region. There's an item to the right. And there's this vendor. In this case, I am going to make a quick side trip. As you can see, this Gemini Crest goes back to Fireberg's vendor. We got that multi-key, so... One worth note, the last vendor in Windia is 300, so we will buy a few seeds, just because I do like having seeds on hand. There's a multi-key. This door is locked. You need the multi-key to get the item. He gives us a spell. And there's a Mobius Crest down here. That Mobius Crest is in a house in Windia. I will showcase that when we get to Windia. But that's the basis of the expert logic that the crests are now usable as travel points between regions. We're unfriendly, we don't have to worry about that. So, when you've unfrozen Aquaria, one of the things I tend to do is save and pick up the... Check the items down here. There are 3 of them. We can only get 2 of them unless we have the Venus key, which in this case we do. So, you would pick up the checks. You can peek this one here. Okay, thanks. And if you need the other item, you would go through this cave. But, okay, I'm going to do a... Since we got the Thunder Rock, I'm going to save here. It's worth noting, the logic can now expect you, if you don't have a Thunder Rock for Windia, to free the ship from Aquaria. That is not in the vanilla game. That is a feature Wildham has added to the randomizer in order to add a little more routing divergence. It can be used as logical access to the Windia region in Overworld Shuffle, because if you have a Thunder Rock, you can build the Rainbow Bridge and then go through here. In this case, we just have access to the freeing the ship and getting this item, which in this case, since we don't have the Mobius Crest, we do have to do this with the vanilla puzzle, which in this case, for the record, you go down to this area and throw a Mega Grenade. Navigate around and... That is the intended way to get to the chest, because this is in vanilla, the Mobius Crest. In this case, it's a helmet. However, I'm going to actually reset that so I can showcase getting there from the vanilla intended side using the Thunder Rock. So, do I have a helmet? The auto tracker thinks I picked up a helmet now because of the... I want to quickly restart the auto tracker. So, we would normally exit out there if we had it. We still don't, because the game doesn't like giving me exit. So, I personally prefer doing Winter Cave and Battlefields first. Venus Shield is paralysis protection, I believe. Yeah, paralysis. So, as you're peeking, once you go in, you can see this chest from the entrance. You go this way. By coming this line, you can see that chest. You would walk up a bit to check the third chest. Take out this fight here. Just because it's in my way. And this tile is where Phoebe's quest gets turned in. The Age Shield adds petrification per resist, I believe. If you mess up here. In this area, you just have to move to the left over here, right on this striped tile, plus you peek both boxes. It is fast. Worth note. So here's the difference between climbing down. About 2 seconds of climbing. Less than a second of falling. So always fall if you're taking that. You have to come down to here to visual check the chest there. And then just navigate around the enemies as you can. Keep hoping for smoke explosives. I will have to pick some up later. So you can kind of see under the stripy floor where the blocks are. But you can just jump over the chest here. To take care of the enemy there. Squid is actually resistant to Earth. But Meteor hits hard enough on solo targets that I'm not scared of using it here. Even at half damage for the resistance, it's still doing 573. And that's our sun coin. And then you'd have to walk out. Normally, I like to full clear the area, but we have a Phoebe. So I'm going to play this the exact smart way I recommend. Which is, if you have access to Phoebe, level 2, do it. And the only way up is to take the right climbing wall there. So we're going to go make a quick visit to Windia, because it will make the rest of this game easier. So, we'll be back to this region in a bit. Like, I'm not going to say checking too many other things along the way. This chest, if you have exit, is faster to walk out the southeast corner and then use exit to when you go back in. In this case, we don't, so we do have to walk back out. Worth note, in terms of go mode, we are missing the Captain's Cap and the Mobius Crest. Rope Bridge has no randomized key items, so there's technically no reason to showcase this. but I'm showcasing every check. There's a chest here. This is the second vine. If there's an enemy, if there's a character check in shuffled, if there's with extended shuffled character locations, this platform is a possible check. However, you will still peek it by going to the 5th where you would have the box. And this box is a vanilla seed chest. You have to go nearly to the bottom. Also worth note that if you have exit, you can't open the menu until your feet are on solid ground. So, right. Alive Forest will wait for a couple of minutes. Cage Temple I will do now. If there's a character check, the character location in Cage is to come over here. You can also peek a chest by coming up here, to the left of the door. And there's a Mobius Crest there, which I can showcase that in a bit, when we have a Mobius Crest. Green tile. Gray tile. Windhole Temple. You can peek by doing that. Alright. The dungeons down here, I'm going to hold off until we get done. So, vendor. If NPC checks are on, this is your vendor. I don't know why I bought the Jumbo Palm. To showcase that if you have a weaker item than what you have... Alright. Thunder Rock goes to auto here. If you have a weaker item than... If you have a stronger item than the one you pick up, it will downgrade until you switch weapons again. We can check the auto's basement. Thunder Rock goes to auto here to build the Rainbow Bridge, which we will go up and get our helmet back. If you have a quest for visiting Chocobo in Windia, you would grapple over here, and this is your Chocobo. But you need Dragonclaw for that, of course. Phoebe's quest upgrades her to level 34. And then the items over here, there's 2 chests here, and if you've done Kaylee's quest line, she gives you an item after the quest line. Alright, in terms of crests, there's a Mobius Crest over here to the left. That goes to the multi-key house in Fireburg. This house, there's 2 chests in the basement and a Mobius Crest to the boat dock. And then there's also a door, a path out there. As said, we're just going to quickly redo the Spencer's Quest chain. I want that helmet back. That's how you are supposed to get in Vanilla. Go get the Thunder Rock. Right. Worth noting that bombs still work even if you don't have bombs in the overworld only. And we have our helmet back. So. And now for a quick way back to the Aquaria, because I'm going to finish Aquaria before I go into the dungeons down there, because the dungeons down there are kind of awful, and I want more resources from the key item checks up here. So, let's go do the items to the left real quick. So, worth note, this path is open even if you don't have Volcano done. Wintry Cave, you can peek by going up here. Alright, and... because of this it open message, this is an NPC. Mobius Crest, that's part of our go mode. We'll deal with that later. Phoebe's magic stat is ridiculous. Her white spell does 2,000 damage. So we're just going to annihilate battles from here on out. For note, your goal level is 22 if you're playing non-enemizer, because then you can survive everything the Dark King does to you once. Last battle for this battlefield. Alright. I'm gonna just take this battle out real quick. Fourth note, you saw a peaked item when we did the downstairs check where we got the sky coin. That item is accessible only after you've freed the boat. And done the boat. I did not pay any attention because I was focusing on something on my screen. So, those battlefields. Excalibur is your strongest base weapon, for the record. Alright, there are two ways to handle this puzzle. 3-block and 2-block. I will showcase 2-block first. I will showcase 3-block first because I just messed up 2-block. So 3-block, you start by building 2 blocks there. And then there. For the record, you can peek that item as you're doing it. And to showcase the path working, we're going to just quickly... Now if there's an enemy, say, somewhere over here, or you need to peek the item that's up in this room, I will showcase the faster 2-block path for that. I personally just always do a 2-block setup. D-pad does like to undermove occasionally. You place a block here. And you place a block in there. And it lets you peek, go through and peek this room as you're going through. And get this item. Crab is weak to axe, as a note. Crab is also weak to spells. And by weak, I mean that we are at endgame levels, really. We're going to just pulverize this crab. Alright, there's battlefield here to note. And then... if you don't have a sword, you stab this... you can't do anything. You have to have a sword. So, peek routing. You come down here and peek these chests. This chest down here, vanilla refresher. You peek this chest. You peek this chest. The rest of checks throughout the dungeon, you can peek on the way to Ice Golem. So, to showcase that, you can just see through that glass block, there's a brown chest in there. This is a brown chest, which I will poke open to show. That is a brown chest. Brown chest. Brown chest and brown chest. On this floor, go right first. It'll let you see these two brown boxes. But more importantly, you have to go down this way first, because at the end of this hallway is a switch to open that door. And you have the one-tiled twisted hallway here. These enemies are weak to bombs, for the record. I don't know all my weaknesses. There is a very good spreadsheet of weaknesses made by Exerum in the Discord. And these are the last two peaks for the left side routing. And that'd be the two checks on the right. You can peek most of these as you're going around. Oh. And then the only one... Wow, thank you, D-pad, for not canceling. D-pad's a little sticky sometimes. With the exception of the two checks on the right, the lower right, you can peek them. You need to go over here to peek these two. You can peek that one if you're going. I tend to move until I feel like I'm going to fall off, and then I stop. You can tap move it to move, like, you can tap move to stop things. With this enemy here, I can't actually show the... We actually want to fight this enemy so I can show my peek as I would actually do it. If there wasn't an enemy here... I move to here and here. Peek two on the right, but you can also peek them going through. Mostly useful if you don't actually have bombs in the claw to open this. Here you can see the last checks around the pit room. And there are 4 checks here. Gaia's armor is water resist, wind resist, poison resist, and sleep resist. So joke is the armor curses you with insomnia, for the record. And again, you can peek these 3 checks by going through here. So like if you have bombs and a claw, you would not peek like I did in the center there. You would just go up. And if you need the items in here, this is your switch. Now, you can peek Golem from here. However, again... Now, worth note, you do not need to navigate this twisted hallway like this. There's a space that you can line up on the end and jump across. Golem is weak to fire, very weak to fire. He also resists earth, so I'm going to use the Excalibur. Phoebe 2 is very, very, very powerful, so And then your way out of this area is to fall off this platform directly down onto the floor below. I do it from there because it drops me right here. Now, you don't ever have to walk out. For one, if you need to, you can jump there. However, you also can drop down, which will drop you in this room. You should probably go from where I spawned, so it'll put you over there. And get the last chest here. And now, once I get out, I will show you how to get to all of those other brown chests. We're going to walk out like I used exit. Navigating all of your ways out using on foot is a little slow, unfortunately, but exit has been a little elusive today. So, from the entrance, if you need to get items, if there's an item on the 3rd floor where the winding switch was, or on this brown chest, or the one in the bottom corner, that would be this far left staircase. That's right, this one. The next staircase over, I believe it's for the top left room. This item. This staircase is for the middle item. Here. And this staircase up here is for this chest here. And then if you're, and then you would go through here to walk out. Let's see, what is, that leaves us with the Windia region. So, first up, we've already done Rope Bridge because we did that when we came down to upgrade Phoebe. So first up, a live forest. You'll want an axe. You can peek one item by going up to this spot here. To get, you would go through this way. If you have the Mobius Crest, this treehouse, you can peek this item on the left. You have to move a tile to the left of your spawn, and you have to be in this bottom left corner. This is the Liver Treehouse. Alright, we're going to showcase a couple of things, so just chopping that for a moment, like we would come from the without the Liver Crest. So, the fast way to do it from the Liver Crest is to get this item by going down here, or peek it from here. However, I'm going to also show you, assuming that we did not have Liver Crest and just peeked from here. You would come over here, and this item is checked by coming down to here. Oh, it exists. Wow. Okay. Exit's best spell in the game. So, the last item you can peek, you do from here. And if you need it, you get to it this way. Do not use as a vanilla. I didn't even know that was refreshers. And this is Gemini Box. Alright, first floor. You can peek 2 checks by going to here. And you'd go around this way to get the one on the left, or on the right. And up through here for that one. You can peek the other 2 by coming up here. And you can check both of them from there. Alright. With the improved tweaks we always use, you don't have to do the, you know... You don't have to navigate the whole maze. Which, you can actually see, I don't know what I'm doing navigating this maze. But you don't need to do that, because there's a grapple point, extra tile that there so you can grapple directly. So, second floor. You can peek the item behind Ghidra there. You also want to come down here. On the topic of if there's not an item behind Ghidra, one thing you would want to do for certain is peek these 2 items. And that's where that chest is. You can also peek as you're going around the item on the left, which you get from dropping down above. You use the sword to open doors. You can see all 3 chests. If you need the 2 over here, you can walk down here. You can peek the chest that you get from before you drop down by going this way. I typically go up this side, and this is actually a case of luck because we can actually jump the chest, not have to go through there. But you can sometimes have to chop through. But the important thing to remember is from left, when you enter here, you want to go up second from the left and third from the left to have the chest and the path. Second from the left is your path forward. If you need this chest down here. Otherwise, you would climb down this vine and fall to the level below. And that gives this chest down here. Otherwise, you would use this door to go back up to the other ledge. Alright, I'm going to actually save here. So, if you're doing... this, you'll notice that the... block doesn't let you go to the right. You have to be very careful where you fall. Here, you do not actually have to go there, because this spot is not protected from falling. Alright. If you fall, you have to go back through the mushroom room with the worms and drop down and go back up again. Alright, couple of rays through us. If this path is open, it is the fastest way to get to this door to peek it. If it's blocked, you want to go around to the left. It's also worth note that you can get to it. For peeking this chest, in this case where there's a bunch of mushrooms, for peeking, it would be it's good to go this way. But it's also good to peek from the side does it. In this case, I showed both. And if you go... I tend to go through the middle one regardless. But sometimes, you can see this case, other than the fact there's a fight there. And actually right now, that's a fight that would be kind of miserable. We are out of explosives. But it would be faster in terms of axe use. Alright, there is a hook point here to get to 2 chests. And 2 tiles left of that grapple point, you can grapple back north. If you get these items, you just go around the top. then for checks, you can see these 2 checks from here. See these checks from here. And Ghidra. Alright, Ghidra is Ghidra's one of the few enemies I do keep track of my resistances on. He's weak to wind, he resists fire, which means he does resist my... I believe he resists earth too, actually. I'm going to test that. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I know he resists fire. He does not resist earth. So he's weak to wind, he resists fire. And he, like Medusa, he is a boss fight full of status effects. Alright, when you kill him, all the enemies despawn. In the story, you would have to talk to that switch up there. But in the rando, do not, because it will respawn the enemies. Because it technically takes you outside of the dungeon. It is better to fall, go through the door, fall, drop down the vine, and then you're able to come over here to the path to Ghidra door. When you're going for the item behind Ghidra, you would take the bottom path. And that puts you here. This door will not open until you have beaten Ghidra. In this case, I am going to use the exit spell. It is just faster. From there, you would just reverse, go down, drop down the ledge, and go out. It's pretty simple. Alright. Actually, not what I meant to do. I thought it was on the tile over. Hold on. Kaiju Temple. We have Mobius Crest here. It takes you to Light Temple. Now, if you need the item, the Light Temple path, worth note that the Light Temple, getting the box in Light Temple also counts as, can also be used as a quest in the game. So, unlike most, you have to go into the water and go through the wall. And then stepping up here will trigger the quest. We have exit. I should be using it. Don't exit from Light or Life Temples, the Libra and Cage Temple warps. They will put you... Because that's... If you use exit from Light Temple, it'll put you on that island. If you use exit from Life Temple, it'll put you on that ledge. You can't do anything from there. We're not doing Pazuzus yet. We're doing... Mount Gale. So, first off, you can peek. If you need the item, there are 2 ways to it. One of them is... Or there are 3 ways if you have Dragonclaw. The 3 ways are... to continue around the long way, like that. From over there, you can hookshot this platform, or you can take the lower route to that chest. But in terms of speed, you want to peek it from here. By coming up through here, you can... Once you have... How far over can you... You can peek... You must peek Dullahan without the Dragonclaw. That's good to know. I actually hadn't tested that one. Right, and the third peak... The third chest peak is... here. Which you would grapple here. Another case of I did not even know that was refreshers in vanilla. Again, not worth it for refresher grinding. Your 2 best are probably Firebird or... One thing I should guess. Firebird or Ice Pyramid if you can get to it. it's worth knowing that this is a quest, the northeast ledge of Mount Gale. Alright, this boss is... Dullahan is a unique boss. He is actually weak to paralysis, which means Tristram can actually stun lock him. Dullahan does have a very dangerous AoE attack called Hidoomerang. And he hits pretty hard with his rapier. But if you kill him, you can get the item from item. And 4. Official note, that is what we would refer to in this run as go mode. We're still going to do everything else in the game. Which means next up is Pazuzu's Tower. Pazuzu. You need to come up to this tile here. I also tend to... This tile here. I tend to go too far to the left anyways. Runner's choice if you save Norma. I am a big fan of saving Norma. Pazuzu's Tower, you can go up the tower. One thing as you're watching these elevator spots you need to do fight where your Pazuzu fight is. You can peek from the stairs on those 2 chests down there. If you need them, they are down this path here. It's also, you also want to come down here to peek this item on the third from the other side. You can peek these 2 chests over here. You can also check if Pazuzu's up here. You'll notice I'm mentioning finding Pazuzu. Pazuzu likes to run away through his tower. This is where you need Dragon Claw. You will hook over here. You can peek a chest up here. This is one of your 2 access to the 6th floor. Pazuzu is on floor 6. So we will need to shut the floor below him, I believe. So he can't leave. In this case, we're actually just going to fight him now. So you can get a spell there. You use your axe to trigger the fight, to trigger the switch. We're going to save here because it's Pazuzu. Having that white spell means that Ben is going to do some pretty good damage as well now. Alright, Pazuzu. He mostly uses Windstorm, he'll use Sky Attack. He has a couple of other moves. His gimmick is on turn 5. Yeah, there's Sky Attack. It hurts. Phoebe's magic is so strong, she can AoE cure you full. Alright, and Pazuzu's turn 5 gimmick. Psych Shield. He has Stone Beak, I forgot about it. To showcase what happens with Psych Shield, I'm going to use Quake. It reflects spell damage at you. He is weak to projectiles, so Tristram and Phoebe can attack for okay damage. However, we're going to just take the heal, get us back to full, swing the X-Cal here. After 2 turns, he will lower the Psych Shield. So there's a full turn of him having Psych Shield up, and then the next turn after that, he will lower it. Giving you 2 turns to use your spells in full. We're actually going to use the white charge here, because on this, immediately after the turn, 2 turns after he lowers his Psych Shield, he puts it right back up. Were you going to use auto? Because if Ben's down, your partner's auto script will use life on him. Solid crit. Excellent Pazuzu fight. So, he is weak to wind, he resists earth. So, Meteor will do half damage to him. Arrow will actually do super respectable damage. Arrow is a very good spell. Alright, and now that raises the 4th crystal. If you're playing like safe crystals, you would need to clear all 4 crystal dungeons to get your Sky Coin. This seed was standard, so Sky Coin's just randomly in a box. And blocking life. Pazuzu, you are a jerk. Anyways, since we had floor 6, I do need to finish Pazuzu's tower. When you have floor 6 Pazuzu, just do floor 6 Pazuzu. Floor 5, you'll be able to see Pazuzu if he's there, and you can get the 2 checks here. I don't actually tend to peek from the middle if I don't need to. Floor 4, there's a box. This is a guaranteed key item on the right. If you need that item on the 3rd floor, it's right here. And you can hook over to get to the 2nd floor and get stuff from that way. This Pazuzu's through there. The switch, if you need to slower it for Pazuzu's that are on 2, 3, 4, and 5 is right here. The way Pazuzu works is you need to find an odd number floor or floor 6. He will run away through the elevator if you don't. If he's on 1, you need to block the floor above him. If he's on 2 or 3, you need to block 2 and 4 because he'll could run away at 3. Or run away down. But if you do it on 2, he'll go to 3, so you have to lock 4. If he's on 4, you need to lock 2, 4, and 6 because you don't know which way he's actually going to run at that point. Or 4 and 6 because he'll go up. Anyways, best thing to do is if you're on a lock the floor he's on and the floor above him and below him. So the floor below him, which can include the floor he's on and the floor above him. If he's on floor 1, you only need the floor above him. If he's on floor 6, you only need the floor below him. I hope that made sense. Alright. This is the other way down to floor 2. Just a quick go wrap around here. We have a couple of things to showcase. The floor 2 switch is right there. The items that we peeked all the way back down on floor 1 are right here. The game intends you to grapple across to that, but you can actually jump to that tile there. It's a one-way jump. Because we beat, I think it's Dullahan who blocked it, we can actually buy seeds here. What? Oh, fire's on... Okay. So I'm going, I missed something. No, fire's just on the Fireberg vendor and we didn't buy it. The boat. So I do the boat. There are two ways to do the boat. One is to... One, you just peek the bow ship, like that. One is you can go through without the captain's cap and do it navigating the floors and fighting enemies. However, where I have captain's cap, I'm just going to take the fast way to the center first. And the center lets you peek most of this. 1, 2, 3, which you can carefully navigate to jump that. 4, 5. And that knocks out all except for, like, 2 checks in terms of peaks. This is a key item. If you have Cap, you give Captain Mac his hat. And you can walk out. But I will exit because exit is faster. Right. And then I prefer to go to this side over here. You can peek that chest and get to it from that side. And you can peek that chest. However, since I don't want to drop down, I'm going to just walk back up. Afterward, it's also worth noting this gentleman over here sells seeds. Alright, Doom Castle. First thing note, Doom Castle. If you see ninjas, they are worth a ton of experience. Not behemoths, ninjas. Secondly, I'm going to just showcase that there's some of these checks I don't actually know how to get to. Like, this is actually going to take me a moment to figure out how to get to this chest. It's not what I go to for very often, but I like it this way. That lets you get this chest here. I do have enough tiles. The important one is you have to get to that chest there. So if you need the chest on the left, you can drop in from the left and hit that bone tile. I'm going to showcase the intended way. Okay, which is to take that left path, that far right path. So I'll showcase the intended way to get to the ledge, and then I will showcase the fastest way to get to the ledge. The intended way. We'll get you here. There's a faster way that we all do, because you can move on quicksand. We go from this staircase, and if you come around and hold left, you can get to here. Alright. So, Skullurus Rex. One big secret with Skullurus Rex is if you have a partner at least level 34, or you have the exit spell, you can take him out quickly. Or, he's weak to petrification, which your Dragon Claw inflicts. There are so many ways around Skullurus Rex, it's not even funny. I want to see how long it takes to get this RNG proc. Yeah. So, weak petrification. Believe it or not, I am going to sit here and fight Skull Rex 3 times. The second way is to use Exit. Exit has one problem. You do not get the experience for that kill. So, like you saw there, last fight we got like 2,000 experience. This fight, we get 1,350. Alright, take 3. Lastly, the other way you can do it is Skull Rex is undead. So life from a level 34 and above will kill him. Alright, welcome to Doom Castle. So, worth a note, in non-standard Doom Castle, so boss rush or Dark King only, there will be 4 chests here. You can actually peek them from outside. However, we're doing standard, because I need a showcase. So, you go left first. Open this door. Open that door. You have to peek 1 chest there. Jump up. Hit this switch. Go all the way right, hit that switch. Before proceeding up. And hitting that switch. That's the important switch. That opens the door to Stone Golem. As you see, there's a chest right here. You then hookshot across. There's just there. It's worth note, you do not need to hit the switch. And you will see why in a bit. It opens this door for the sledge. Hit that switch. Jump to the left. Follow the path. That should be all of your door switches open. And it takes you to Stone Golem. Stone Golem resists Earth. I'm going to do success. I don't know off the top of my head on one. But Earth, Fire. In this case, I really just don't know. I actually need to study it up on it. But Arrow. Yeah. So Stone Golem resists both Earth and Fire, which are your 2 strongest spells. So your options are to either use White or more useful to us is to make him disappear. The first 2 bosses in a refight can be used exit cast. To leave, use hookshot here. The intended path is to use the door. You don't have to. So, for your aid, you activate left to right from left to right is the general rule. Alright, floor 5. The Lava Dome Rehash. You'll see that there are multiple paths. You want this one. This is the only path you need to follow. I have never seen them stacked up like this over here. Alright, so these Cerberus are your primo XP. They are weak to fire. And as you can see, they give a ludicrous amount of experience. You would follow the path very traditionally. As you can see, this does not go anywhere of note. There's 2 chests here. There's 2 chests here. You hook over, and there's your path through Doom Castle 5. The Hydra refight. The Wyvern. He resists fire. He does not resist earth. So your best spell is Meteor. And you can see the kind of damage that we are dealing with these spells. Endgame Mystic Quest comes down to what spells do you have? And on your way out is to hook over to left and hook back to there, and that puts you back at this door. Alright, I'm going to showcase real quick. You can fall off here. Alright, so, you'll have to forgive me, this is a case where I do have to do just a touch of exploration. I want to say it's this way. So there's a chest over here, which, unless you are playing like an archipelago, you're probably never going to see that chest need be gotten. So, the fast way through here. Go. I'm just gonna literally come back down here. So, the fast way through the Pazuzu refight is the path I'm taking exactly. I will remember how to get to that chest in a minute. So, from that, you come here, and you would come over here. And this chest is the same through that right path. So, but the path goes this way. These chimeras, for the record, resist fire. I don't care. Phoebe is white. Alright, this is the fight. Pazuzu, refight. Zoo, Jerkbird 2. Alright, they're all weak to wind. The Chimera resists fire, and Phoebe has white and doesn't care. The big danger here is Za has Doom Dance. Also Sky Attack. Hits hard. If you're below half health, if a character's below half health, characters will automatically cast Cure if they have it. If both are below half health, like right now, they'll AoE cast it. This Zoo might be made of paper. Zoo follows the same gimmick as Pazuzu every 5th turn. every 5th turn. Or turn 5, Psych Shield. Every other turn, raise or lower Psych Shield. Alright, and then to leave. The fastest way to leave, retreat to here. And then walk straight down and off this ledge. You can just hook from landing and leave, and it's faster than walking out of that floor. Also worth noting that after Zoo, don't waste resources healing up, because this statue fully heals you. Alright, this chest is 25 seeds, 25 heal potions, 25 cure potions, and 25 ammunition for your partner. And then Dark King. Welcome to a very dangerous, overtuned boss fight. So, worth noting, he resists water, wind, and earth, but not fire. So your best damage spell is Flare. He has his phase 1 has a few status reduction attacks, a paralysis attack, and Dark Cane, which hits for several hundred damage. And that moves you into... He then goes into phase 2. The Weapon Master form. Every attack here hurts, and despite their names, none of them are elemental, so you do not resist any of these attacks. And that moves us into phase 3. Phase 3 is the dangerous phase. So I'm going to actually take a moment and go over every single attack. You have Spider Kids. It will hit for approximately one character for approximately 800 damage, 700 something, like high 790 or something. You have 770, 790 range. You have Laser. A single target will hit for 882 damage at full defense, or 862 damage at full defenses. Hence why you want to be level 22, where you can have 880 and survive one laser. Mega White will hit both party members for approximately 600 damage. Mega Flare will hit one party member for 920 something fire damage, so cut that in half for if you have Moon Helm or Apollo Helm. Silver Web fires a web that deals multiple stat effects, including Confuse. It's worth note, none of your party members can resist Confuse. And Golden Web fires a web that does damage and petrifies. Only Kaylee resists petrification in endgame. I'm going to take just a moment and full heal. Mega White. It's worth note that you can... One other thing you can do for this fight is if you have like no endgame spells, you can switch... I will do a turn to demonstrate. You can run on what we call Madam President strats. And you can see with Defend, only Ben took damage. I am going to play aggressive and go for damage from here. Spider Kids. She took an Iron Nail earlier. Her defense is lowered. Phoebe is usually fast enough to get her turn in first. Don't rely on it too heavily. Especially on certain scaling, she can get outsped. Like that, actually. Alright, Phase 4 has no difference from Phase 3 script-wise. But it's worth noting the general rule. The general rule is once you hit that Phase 4 transition, it takes 4 spell casts of an endgame spell to finish the fight. But that's 1. Two. And time is when the red flashing starts. That's the worst thing that you can have, is the speedy getting confused. And that is what we would call time in this situation. That is every single check in Mystic Quest, and showing how to route every dungeon mostly efficiently. There are probably people who know slightly more efficient routes than I do, but that is a good general start to your routing. So, thank you for watching, everybody. And see you all with any future tutorials. Have a great night, everybody.